This is the Andu Kedei Show.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today is going to be a special one, guys. As I've told you last time, today we are going to do top 5 active players that don't have a championship. But before we dive into that, I want to talk a little bit about some games from last night. So, we had some interesting turn of events. First of all, Dallas won a game after a rough stretch, but Doncic still played poorly. I mean, he had a triple-double, but he only had 13 points or something like that. And bad news for Indiana, man. I mean, Turner went down with a fracture in his hand, and this dude averaged 4 blocks a game? 4 blocks a game? Oh my god. And yeah, they made that deal trading Victor Oladipo, and they got Caris LeVert and prayers up for him because he didn't pass the medical test. They found some mass in his kidney, and he said that he was feeling 100%. So prayer ups to him. Hopefully he will get healthy. TJ Warren is still out, but Porzingis played more than 20-something minutes. He was not on a minutes restriction, and he dominated in the absence of Miles Turner. So that's not a coincidence. Then we had the Cleveland-Brooklyn game, and here why this is exciting. So first of all, this was the first game for Brooklyn with the big three. Dude, I had no idea that this is Kyrie Irving's first game in Cleveland since that trade to Boston. Oh my god, so this tells you how rarely has he played since he got traded. He had what 2 seasons in Boston? Now this is his second season in Brooklyn, and he never played in Cleveland before since the trade to Boston. Wow. So what's interesting? So Kyrie came back. Harden dropped a triple-double, and Kyrie had 37 points. He shooted the ball 28 times in a double overtime. So maybe that's not so a number that big, but James Harden shooted the ball 14 times. And I don't know what to make of that, because in my opinion, Harden is better than Kyrie. But Kyrie can have nights like, I don't know, he shot it well from the 2-point. 2-pointers, he was 12 out of 20, so 60%. He wasn't bad either from the 3-point line, so let's say he was kind of hot. And he kept shooting. Durant, 25 attempts. So Kyrie was the one who shooted the ball the most. I don't know if this will happen. I don't know what to make of that. It's only their first game together. Maybe Harden was like, okay, I'm not going to be selfish tonight. Let's see how this works, not mess the chemistry, not play Houston ball. I imagine that happened. So Colin Sexton was a beast, man. 42 points, scoring on anyone. Kyrie, KD, Harden, doesn't matter. So actually, before we move to Cleveland, let's talk more about Brooklyn, because yeah, they still have 3 roster spots. Yeah, they will get another center from the buyout market, 95%. And KD is balling out of his mind. He's really making a case for MVP. But let's still not forget that even though he looks unbelievable, he's playing a lot of minutes for someone who comes up after an Achilles tear. He's playing a lot of minutes, and not only that, he's asked to do a lot. Remember, 3 games ago, Kyrie was missing, Harden was not there. And he was the primarily ball handler. So yeah, maybe they want to manage that. And James Harden as well. But yeah, James Harden was like the Iron Man of the NBA. Never got injured significantly and played a lot of minutes. Maybe you want to manage that. And the defense is a problem. Didn't expect that early to be, but it is. And I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are thinking. Maybe they're thinking that Yeah, whatever. We'll let them score. We have three of the best scorers in the game, so we can outscore everyone. Yeah, not tonight. Not last night. When Colin Sexton was formidable. And you can see that they allowed 115 to Orlando, 123 to Milwaukee, and 147 to Cleveland. Yeah, okay, it was a double overtime game, but there are still a lot of points. And if you watch just the recent, so they didn't have before necessarily a great defense. They lost the rim protection. DeAndre Jordan is not the same player he was when he played in Lob City. So yeah, I'm not necessarily worried right now because, as I said, they still have 3 roster spots. But what I don't understand is why Bruce Brown played only 8 minutes when he looked like he was a big part of the rotation. Joe Harris was called. So I don't understand that. I think they need to fill in those roster spots immediately because I don't know how I feel about KD playing 40 minutes a night. Now let's move to Cleveland. Fun fact, did you know that Cleveland is the best defensive team in the league and the worst offensive team in the league? So they're sitting at both extremes. How weird is that? But so if you're Cleveland, what do you want to do, man? You want to make the playoffs? Nah, I don't think it's an objective like it's burning inside your head. No, I think you want to develop young talent and try to keep them because free agents are not going to come to Brooklyn unless they're born there or called LeBron James. But you have 3 young, really good players in Sexton, Garland, who has been out with some injuries, but he looked all right at the beginning of the season, and Jarrett Allen now. So they can develop those 3 players, and maybe in 2-3 years, this can be an elite trio. Right now they are 7-7, so they're not that bad. The 6th seed actually. Colin Sexton is averaging 27 points this season, so watch out. This is a very good player who gives his 100% every night. He's really good. So enough with Brooklyn, Cleveland. Let's move to other games. We had Philly, Boston. Not too much takeaways from this besides that Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate and he looks exactly what we wanted him to look after he cried after that Kawhi bounce. So this is how we wanted and expected him to look. Furious, mad, destroying everyone. 42 points, 10 rebounds. Yeah, Tatum was not there. Yeah, Walker is playing on a minutes restriction. So yeah, nothing to exaggerate. Shake Milton, 6-man candidate. This guy is lighting it up. Yeah, this is all. Now, we had Atlanta, Detroit. Finally, Trae Young with a good game. It was a game that ended up in overtime. 38-10. Collins, his best game of the season, 31 points. Capella had the video game box score, 27 points, 26 rebounds. But this is unbelievable. So they won this game in overtime, so it was close. And Trae Young had 38. John Collins had 31. Clint Capella had 27. You want to know how many points the Atlanta Hawks bench scored last night? 4. And I know no one from the Detroit Pistons is listening to this podcast, but Sadiq Bey and Sekou Doumbia put them in the G League. I think they need that. They are not ready necessarily for the NBA. We saw some promise in Sadiq Bey's shooting, but in a 53-minute game, Sadiq Bey played 9 minutes and Sekou was a lottery pick last year or 2 years ago. When was it? I forgot. Had played 6 minutes. So if this is how you want to develop young talent, this might be the worst way to do it. By not playing them in the league that they want to grow. Toronto, Miami won, yeah. Orlando, Cole Anthony hit a game winner. Man, Cole Anthony is legitimately top 10 rookie this season. And now he's gonna get even more playing time with Markel's injury. By the way, we had the news that it was a successful ACL injury. So good for him. Then we have Phoenix, who defeated Houston, which I'm a little bit scared, as I really wanted to see John Wall, but he has some pain in his knee, which if you followed John Wall last seasons, you will probably be scared AF, and I am, because I really think that John Wall, Oladipo, and Christian Wood can do something. Eric Gordon is still there. So I wouldn't say that on the paper I will not have them the 14th seed. So let's hope that John Wall is getting healthier. Dude, Kevin Durant is averaging 31, man. Unbelievable. So they're top 13 scorers of the game so far. Brooklyn has 3 of them. Oh my god. But he still lost to Cleveland. And Cleveland didn't have Garland or Love. Well, whatever, it's just a game. I'm not going to overreact to that. But it's fine to think about it, you know? What other games? We had Clippers defeating Sacramento, yada yada, and Golden State defeating San Antonio, which is I think is a good win. So they defeated the Lakers, who were kind of falling asleep in that game. And it's interesting because Corey had another good game. Wiseman had a really good game. And if Wiggins and Oubre are what we... I mean, if these guys can be those two guys together, like replace Klay Thompson production, it's all right, because this is what we wanted. This is what the Warriors organization wanted, I think. So if Klay Thompson, let's say, was averaging 22, let's have these guys together average at least 30. Yeah, they will not be as efficient, not be such a problem for the opposing team defense, but they are capable of doing things like that. And James Wiseman, best game of the season for him. So enough with last night games. Let's go into this episode, which I've said is special because I wanted to do this. So I analyzed a lot of things, taking into consideration I have a table in front of me. So first, let's say those players. Actually, there are 6 now that I'm looking. So what criteria I had? They had to be playing in the league at least for 10 years. So this is why I don't have Giannis here or Doncic, which I think would be ridiculously stupid because he's in his 3rd season. The Lillard I don't have here. Yes, so the top is... First I'm gonna say the names. Or not, man, let's actually say the order. So, number 6, LaMarcus Aldridge. Number 5, Carmelo Anthony. Number 4 is Paul George. Number 3 is Westbrook, 2 Harden, and 1 CP3. So, LaMarcus Aldridge, last place. Why? He has been playing... He's in his 15th season, right? Or is it 16? Whatever. He played 15 seasons. 7-time All-Star, 2 times second All-NBA team, 3 times All-NBA third team. Was never in top 3 MVP considerations, never had a scoring title, all defensive teams, never. But he's a beast from the 3-point range, from the mid-range, sorry. He can average 20 and 10. I think this is like his career average is like 19 and 9 or something like that. And he had some unbelievable playoff runs with the Portland when Lillard was younger. And he also had some runs with the San Antonio Spurs. He made the conference finals one time with the Spurs. First round exit 6, which is kind of a big number, and 2 second round exits. So he has been in the playoffs 9 times out of his 15 seasons so far. He's still playing at a good level, not elite. He's not at his peak. Obviously, he's no longer in his prime. He's 30 a lot. And he's slow. He isn't necessarily a good defender. He never was. He went one time to the conference finals. And he had some good runs, man. I really think he belongs in this top. But not top 5, top 6. So let's say he's an honorable mention. Next, on the number 5. So, Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony, same as the Marcus Aldridge, don't have a plethora of awards. So he's in his 18th season. He has 10 All-Stars, which is already more than LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah, obviously he played more, but Aldridge will not get another All-Star team. 0-time first All-NBA, 2 times second team, 4 times third team. So he was 6 times All-NBA, and he was, in one season, 2013, the third one on the MVP votings. And he has 1 scoring title, which it counts a lot for me. So this is why I have him basically in front of Aldridge. He's averaging more points. When he was in his peak, like last 2 seasons of Denver and his almost entire career with the New York Knicks, he was a scoring machine. He was a scoring problem. 0 all defensive teams. He never was a good defender. And one thing I really count against him is that he has 10 first-round playoff exits. He has 12 appearances in the playoffs, 10 first-round exits. One time he lost in the conference finals. One time he lost in the second round. And yeah, I really hold this against him. He said it multiple times that, yeah, he had the opportunity to team up with D. Wade and LeBron James in Miami. It was supposed to be him, not Chris Bosh. This is already known. And he chose the money and the spotlight in New York. And I don't blame him for that. No one should blame him for that. But this is one of the reasons he's ringless. The New York Knicks, a stinky organization, never was able to put some world-class talent around him. When he was third in MVP, and I think this was the season when he won the scoring title, when he led the league in scoring, he was unstoppable, man. It was so good to watch, and he was done dirty. Remember, he went to Houston with Chris Paul and Harden, and it didn't work for like the first 10 or 15 games of the season, and they waived him. Then he had some buyouts with Atlanta, Chicago. He never played there, but he got traded or they signed him, or I don't even remember. It was a dark time for him. So he was basically out for a year. And then came Portland, gave him a chance. And you can see that he can still play. He cannot play like LeBron does in his 18th season. He cannot be a starter on a contending team. But he can come off the bench and have some games where he drops 20. So it's not like he's done, he's washed. He's been really, really decent. Considering his age, considering his skill set, considering that he was kind of a year out. He was also 1 year in OKC. I almost forgot that. So when he had that MVP run, he was averaging 28.7 points. This is not his career high. He averaged 28.9 and 27 with the Denver Nuggets when he was still a puppy. So as little as he was as a scorer, he never was in the NBA Finals, which is a huge thing. And the one time he was close, it was in 2009 when he played in the Western Conference Finals. He was with the Denver Nuggets back then. And he lost to the Los Angeles Lakers. So what can you do? And then next season, in 2010, where he lost in the first round of the playoffs, he averaged 30 points. And with Portland last season in the playoffs, they also got bounced out in the first round. He averaged 15 points. This is what I'm saying. 15 points? If you can average 15 points in the NBA, you can have a spot. Shooting 42% from the three-point line? This was a career high for him. At the age of 35. So Carmelo really got done wrong. Dirty. And part of that, it's his fault because, as I said, in OKC and even in Houston, I think that they traded him, at least in Houston, that quickly. He only played like 10 games. Is that they couldn't find necessarily a spot for him, and I think he wanted a lot of shots. And Harden and Paul obviously should have been the one with the most shots. But he was not an alpha anymore, Carmelo, I mean. Back then, but I think he didn't know that. I mean, he still wanted to be the superstar. He no longer was. But still, he has been done dirty, man. And he is a Hall of Famer. 100% he's a Hall of Famer. And he will be another one of those Hall of Famers without a ring. Next, I have Paul George. Why? This is his 11th season, I think. Yeah. And he's been close. He really has been. He can still win, definitely. This is why I have him like fourth, because he's younger. He's 31, right? So, or 30. So he can still win. Obviously, he has a lot of time. He can still win 3 or 4 championships, depending on his trajectory. And his career accolades are... I mean, he's a 6-time All-Star already. So, one shy of tying Aldridge on my list. 1 time was first team All-NBA. 0 time second team. 4 time third team. So he's a 5-time All-NBA. Same as Aldridge. 1 less than Carmelo Anthony. He was also third 1 time on the MVP voting. He led the league in steals for 1 year, and he also has 4 all-defensive teams, which are a pretty big deal. And George is in his 11th season. So let's say he played 10 complete full seasons. He made the playoffs 9 times. The only time he didn't make the playoffs is the 1 time he got really injured. And he also has 6 rounds exit, but he also has 2 conference finals when he was 22 and 23 with that Indiana team that was loaded, coached by Frank Vogel. He was a starter there. He played 40 minutes a night. He averaged 19 points and 22 respectively in those 2 seasons. And then was the injury. Then he stayed 2 more years in Indiana. Still playing good. Got bounced out in the first round and second round respectively. Then went to OKC with Westbrook. Got waived by Damian Lillard. And then he got traded to the Clippers to play alongside Kawhi. And I didn't know that, but last season in the bubble, he averaged 20 points. I know he struggled, but I didn't know he averaged 20 points. This is his career low No, not career low, because he averaged 6 points in his first playoff run when he was 20. But the lowest since 2012-13. When he was 22, man. So kind of a rough bubble experience for him. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know it was that bad. He looks much, much better this season. He has something to prove. Obviously, remember, before the Clippers run and before the OKC runs, he battled neck and neck with the big three in Miami. Because this is why he never made the NBA Finals. Because of the big three in Miami that got the best out of him consecutive years in 2013 and 2014. Now, I don't know if they would have beaten the Spurs in the NBA Finals, but he would have an NBA Finals appearance. He can still do it, as I said. He's 30 years old, guys. So he's not that old. He's the youngest player on my list, on my top 5-6 list without a ring. So he can still do it. Then I have a player that I kind of have the opinion that he will never win a championship. He will 100% be in the Hall of Fame. You already know who I'm talking about, Russell Westbrook. And because he got traded out of Houston and his desire was to dribble the ball and have the ball at his will and desire, this is why I think he will never win a championship, because you can't win a championship with Russell Westbrook as your primarily ball handler. Russell Westbrook has 13 seasons in the NBA, 9 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA first teams, 5 second teams, 2 third teams. He was the MVP of the league one time, 2 scoring titles, 2 assists titles, 0 all-defensive teams, 3 straight seasons averaging a triple-double, which is insane. Insane! So no one has ever done that. Oscar Robertson did it once. Westbrook did it 3 times. So, as much of a terrific player that he is, since Durant left, he was never out of the first round. Since Kevin Durant left OKC, the only time he was out of the first round, it was last season in the bubble. Because he played with James Harden. So Oklahoma City, let's talk about his playoff performances. He got bounced in the first round 4 times, 2 times in the second round, 3rd times in the conference finals, and 1 time in the NBA Finals. So Russell Westbrook has an NBA Finals appearance when he was, let's search for his exact age. He was 23, man. It was just his 3rd playoff appearance, and he played good. I mean, he averaged 23 points, then 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Not a triple-double. But I think Westbrook will never win a championship. Unless he somehow gets traded to a contending team when he's 38 years old and he's playing 5 minutes per game. It will count, but it's not the way you want it, you know. And they battled in the NBA Finals, the big three in Miami. And yeah, he had Harden and Kevin Durant as his teammates, but they were still young. They didn't know how to win. Of course they got destroyed. Gentleman's sweep. They also got young. They blew a 3-1 lead. This is a huge thing. They blew a 3-1 lead against the Warriors before KD left. A series when he averaged playoffs where he averaged 26 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. Then KD left for Golden State. And for 3 years in OKC, he never left the first round he always lost in the first round. And in 2017, the year right after Durant left, he averaged 37 points, 11 assists, and 11 rebounds. I mean, it was just one series, 5 games, but the numbers are unbelievable. Then he averaged 29, then 22, and last year in the bubble averaged only 18 points in the playoffs, which is a low number, shooting 24% from the three-point line. Close to his career worst, actually. So, I don't know what happened. I don't know why he couldn't win without KD. He had a good team. He had Paul George. He had Carmelo for 1 year. And even with that series, remember, talking about Paul George earlier, Paul George and Westbrook played together in OKC. And they lost to Lillard, and no one picked Portland to win the series. Damian Lillard waved bye-bye to them after that monstrosity of a buzzer beater from like the Oakland area. So as much as these players have proved to be elite with all defensive teams, MVPs, scoring titles, stealing titles, whatever you want, got bounced out like that, yikes. Then they gave it a shot in Houston with one of his best friends, James Harden. Didn't work. He got traded to the Wizards. He's now injured. The Wizards suck. I don't know if they will make the playoffs. I picked them at the start of the season to make the playoffs. I don't know what's going on, man. But Thomas Bryant is injured. He's out for the year, I think. He turned his ACL. Westbrook is out for I don't know how long. So yeah, my hopes for Westbrook winning a championship at his peak elite level, I think are, yeah. I don't know what will happen in DC area. I think Bradley Beal is done losing. As much as he says that he wants to be there, I think he also wants to win. So I don't know if he will demand a trade or wait till his contract expires. I think he has 2 years left. And walk in free agency. I don't know if the team would want to lose Bradley Beal for nothing. It would be a huge bummer. And then if they lose Bradley Beal, would they still keep Westbrook? Like, I don't know. I still don't have Westbrook hopeless like I have Blake Griffin, for example. I think he can still be elite, but not win a championship. I think his championship window has closed. Speaking of championship windows closed, this second guy, I think, has a lot of time and potential to win even multiple championships. Right now, he's sitting at 0, and he goes by the name of James Harden, who has 14 seasons in the NBA, who has been an All-Star 8 times, 6 times first-team All-NBA, 1 time third-team, 1 MVP, 3 scoring titles, 1 assist title, 0 All-Defensive teams, and a lot of points. James Harden is one of the most prolific scorers we have ever seen. 3 scoring titles. And if you ask me, he should have at least 2 MVPs. He's a beast. And what it took for him to miss the opportunity to win an NBA championship, I mean that year with the Chris Paul hamstring, is maybe the worst shooting night in NBA history, when they blew a 3-1 lead. And yeah, it all went to hell in game 7. Chris Paul was injured, and guess what? They missed 27 consecutive threes, and their total 3-point percentage was one of 29. And they still lost by single digits to the KD Warriors. Oh my god, can you imagine if they would have beaten that team? I think they would have also defeated Cleveland. I think that was the year where Kyrie Irving was not there anymore. It was only LeBron and Kevin Love and some role players. So I don't know. I will never hold LeBron I mean, he proved that he can carry any team. But and Houston did not have Chris Paul. But they came so close to that, man. Game 7. And yeah, so since being in Houston, he jumped from 16 points per game to 26, then 26, 27, 26, 28, 28, 31, 30 in the playoffs. He never missed the playoffs since being in Houston. Now he's got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. I already talked about them. And yeah, he has 2 years with this team to win a championship, and I think they will. It will be a huge disappointment if they don't. Can you imagine this trio together? This really has the chance to be the best offensive, best scoring trio in the league. So think about big threes in the NBA. You obviously think about LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. You don't compare to that. I mean, Bosh was a good offensive player, but he didn't average 25 in his Miami run. Then we have Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. We all know Rodman offense was nothing, basically. And Bird, Mikhail, and Parrish, these guys are better. The only trio I can compare them is KD and the Splash Brothers. And I will wait to see how the season ends for them to give my conclusion if they are better than that Warriors trio. I think they have the chance to be. I really do. I think all of these 3 guys can average at least 25 on the same team. I don't think this happened with the Warriors. I don't think Clay averaged 25. So James Harden, I think, out of this list, I think he's the best player. This is why I have him second. Because he's the best player because he can still win. And his windows, if he was still in Houston, I would have said that his window is closed. And the number 1 player, top active player without an NBA championship, without a ring, I think you all know the answer. The floor general, the savant, CP3. This guy has 16 seasons in the NBA, 10-time All-Star, 4-time first All-NBA, 4-time second team, 1-time third team. He finished second 1 time in the MVP voting and also third other time. He has been the assist champion 4 times, the 6th time steal champion, 9-time All Defensive Teams, and 4-time blowing a 3-point lead, a 3-1 lead. Or is it 3 times? Whatever, is a lot. Is a lot. It is also in recent history. It is also with different teams. So he did that with Clippers, I think twice. 1 time with Houston. Yeah, it's a career full of. He also was a lot injury prone, a lot. So he started his career with the New Orleans Hornets, if you didn't know that, and didn't really have playoff success. Only in 2008 when he got bounced out in the second round. Also, so Chris Paul has 6 first-round exits, 5 second-round exits, 1 third-round exit, 0 NBA Finals. So he with the Clippers, he had a lot of chances. They blew a 3-1 lead to the Rockets 1 time, and I think they also blew another one with the Spurs or Portland. I don't remember exactly. It was, I think, right when I started watching the NBA. So it was, I think, the 2014 season. So let's check, because I really want. I think this is like as great as Chris Paul is, you can always look at him and say, dude, this guy blew so many 3-1 leads. So It was not 2014, 2015. And the recent one is that one against, so 2015 they lost to Houston, who had a 3-1 lead. It was the year when Golden State won it all. Then 2016 give it one more shot. They got blown out of the water. They got destroyed, swept. 2017 was his last year with the Los Angeles Clippers. And guess what? They lost in 7 games to the Utah Jazz in the first round. Then he came to Houston. And Houston faced the Warriors, and that's history. He had 2 years in Houston, and he got traded to OKC, where, guess what? He lost in a 7-game series, but I don't think anyone expected OKC to be in the playoffs. Not even a 7-game series. Can you imagine winning that series against Harden's Rockets? Oh my God, with that team, with Lou Dort, that would have been something. But Chris Paul, as great as he is, he's an extension of the coach on the court. His IQ, his basketball IQ is off the charts. He still has 0 NBA Finals, 2 or 3-1 leads blown. Yeah, so tough career for him, man. But he's still not done. I mean, he's 34 right now. He's with the Suns. They have a good record. They will make the playoffs 100%. They're still not clicking the way you would want. I don't think they are the favorites to win it all. I don't think they are like, I don't know. I would say that the Clippers, the Lakers are in front of them 100%. Then I think it depends. I mean, if Phoenix somehow defeats Dallas or Denver or Golden State, Portland, I wouldn't be surprised. But if somehow they defeat Clippers, Lakers, Jazz, I would be surprised. They are 8-5. They don't have a bad record. They still learn how to play with each other. Who is going to take the most shots? The pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, Dario Saric. So they have a lot of good role players that they need to integrate somehow. And they started off good, like what I expected. The 4 seed. This is where I saw their floor, their ceiling. Sorry, I don't think they can be higher than that. And I would be surprised if they drop to like the bottom last 2 places of the play-in tournament, for example. And yeah, this is my top 5 of NBA players who had not won an NBA championship. Let's say it one more time. 6, LaMarcus Aldridge. 5, Carmelo Anthony. 4, Paul George. 3, Russell Westbrook. 2, James Harden. And 1, CP3, Christopher Paul. Thank you guys so much if you're listening. Drop down below in the comment section and tell me who your top 5 players without a championship ring are. Active players. Thank you so guys for listening. Stay good, stay healthy, and peace!